Gonna be on with us, yo. My
How are you?
brother from another brother. I'm feeling so wonderful,
Yeah, same
because
here. Since you
this is my
mentioned the
first Insta live from the Radio One page, and it just had to be you. It just one of
thank
those
you.
things, about gut feelings,
Yeah,
and
gut
this is
feeling.
one of those gut
And
feelings.
as you mentioned the Christmas party and the church grounds, there it is. The church is there, as you can see, the red color brick.
So
Yeah,
I remember sitting where you just showed in that particular corner with Colleen.
yeah,
And the wonderful Colleen, who's a hairstylist, a
yeah,
hairdresser,
yeah. Good
and
friend of
the
ours,
two of
common
us,
friend.
yeah, common friend, and we were just sitting there for an hour just talking about you and talking about how remarkable you are,
That's
and
so sweet, both of you.
this whole thing about you being an extrovert and what people see you on your dance reality shows and things like that is one aspect of Terence. And there's another very deeply spiritual aspect of Terence. And I get the feeling that being at home quarantined would be like second skin to you. You must be actually not enjoying it for the fact that we're combating the COVID virus, but enjoying that me time at home. Talk to me about that.
Okay, absolutely. You got the pulse of me. Absolutely right. I'm a big sucker for withdrawing yourself from the world and having time and space for yourself. And I feel it's just not enough. The more you kind of work inwards, you realize there's so many things about you, and you start to question, like, where did this belief come from? Where does this feelings come from? Where are these desires coming from? What is it that really was the first initiator of this thought process? And you start questioning everything, and it becomes a very wonderful journey. Also, I have to admit to you that it's been already 8 days, because I started my quarantine like 7 days before even the Maharashtra government or anybody else put the quarantine on me. I had started already 8 days before, and I'm doing pretty fine. I won't say that there are moments of being bored, but who doesn't feel that here and there? But I think by and large, if you're living by yourself, especially a person like me, and who has no help of anybody living at home and cleaning and doing things, then it's you spend most of your time washing, cleaning, cooking, which is not so bad. And I've already shared some of my cooking skills and what you can do quick and easy with people who are single like me. So yeah, that's one aspect of it. There are some pros and cons. I admit that we are human beings at the end of the day, and of course, I enjoyed my solace simply because I had 8 hours a day where I was interacting with people. So that contrast helps, correct? Because life is always in contrast. You jump from one space to the other, and therefore you appreciate the other. A day looks beautiful because of the night, and the night looks beautiful because of the day. So the contrast is missing currently. That I would definitely agree. That contrast is a big factor to enjoying whatever you are enjoying. But having said that, knowing that it's not going to be forever, this I hope not. I'm assuming that we can use this time beautifully for various things that that probably we didn't give time for. And I will not you know uh, bullshit you or boast you that I'm doing various creative stuff. No, all I've done is that I've taken a decision to help people, who have been writing to me for a long time about, going online, because they either are staying too far, or two, I refuse to do have a franchise because I don't believe in the franchisee model. So, I have only one institute, so people have to learn and come to me, to my institute in Andheri. So having said that, still it is an accompaniment to many people who want to learn dance, and this is for people who have, who feel very scared to venture out into contemporary dance or this type of dance because of various reasons. So I've started an online tutorial, which is free, of course, and you can just go on the YouTube channel. So I'm dedicated to that for 2 to 3 hours of the day. I have to tell you, it's a very annoying experience. Not the teaching, but just shooting, then editing it, then uploading it on YouTube. It's a lot of work, which I hate. I do not like technology. I have to admit to you. So having to cope with that, having to go on your iMovie, editing stuff, learning how to use the iMovie, making it sensible. Because sometimes when you teach, you speak so much, and sometimes you feel, okay, this is not required. Because this is not scripted, right? My teaching is not scripted. In a class, however, I can keep going on and explaining, and I can use a demo, and it becomes a little bit more personal when you have students around. But when you're isolated, it can be very annoying if you're listening to too much talk and, not going to the next step. So I've also to kind of, at the same time evaluate what is important knowledge and what can be, you know, taken away. So all of that is itself takes 4 to 5 hours. So I feel I'm working more than what I used to work outside. But those are the challenges. But I think it's a benefit for people. So yeah, that helps. But honestly, I do appreciate the fact that we have got this time. I do also feel that because I live in Mumbai city, and I can share this with you, that somehow, even though you want to slow down, you can't, because in your back of your mind, you're thinking, oh, am I going to fall back behind people? If I don't catch up, if I don't do the things I need to do, I might lose, the race, because it's so, like, I'll give you this example. If you, I don't know whether it's true for everybody, but I think it's true for me. Whenever I go from Mumbai to outside Mumbai, say Panvel, the moment I cross the bridge, that bridge
Yeah. Yeah.
after CBD and goes into Vashi, the moment it goes beyond Vashi and goes into CBD Belapur and goes into Panvel, you will realize somehow my heart just goes, it just drops down. There's a certain sense of calm that comes through. And vaguely and strangely enough, when you're coming back, sometimes I'm sleeping when the driver is riding me through the journey. Suddenly, I'm sleeping, but just see how unconscious it is. Suddenly, the car has moved from Belapur and going into Bombay, just entering Bombay. And in 5 minutes, I can feel my heart racing. This is not my mind thinking about it. It's just
Wow.
the pulse and the energy of the city. So for people in Mumbai city and big cities, or people who have been living very hectic lives, and because we can't take breaks because we have a whole company to run, I think it's amazing to be able to give yourself that time. And it's only 21 days. So I think it's really good for us to kind of use this time beneficially. Yes, there are times of boredom. I will not agree. I will not disagree with you, because the contrast is missing. The contrast of
Yeah.
working, 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 and then coming home and saying, okay, now this is just going to be fantastic. Just peace out and just be. And I don't watch TV, and I don't watch Netflix. So it's even harder. And I don't have a newspaper at home at all since 2 years. So it's a little bit more harder, and I still have taken the resolve not to watch it, because it can be a, then I know that I'm going to go binging, because I love films, I love watching stuff. So I'm just staying away and try
Now,
to do it
this
much.
is, yeah, this is not just for the hundreds or the thousands who are on this Insta Live, but later on it's going to go on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and it's going to have a life for posterity. So I
Okay.
want people to watch this, months from now and turn
Hmm.
around and take away some stuff from it. What is your biggest learning? One biggest learning. It could be something as simple as making khichdi. I'm not
Yeah,
saying that's something you'll ever
honestly,
make.
you're absolutely bang on right. There's one thing that I hate. I love to cook, and I don't mind. Like, I wouldn't say I love to cook, but I can, I can cook, and I'm good at it. But you know what I hate doing, and I suck, is cleaning. I hate washing vessels. So I'm really appreciating, the house helps that we have.
Bartan
We take
manjna.
things for granted. Even cleaning the house. You ask me to arrange things, you ask me to fold clothes, you ask me to organize stuff, I'll do it. But cleaning, the really, the brass tacks, like getting down and dirty and making sure it's now clean. Man, that is something that I would want to, outsource. And probably in the future have, as they say, in 2030 we're going to have AI. I hopefully have a robot, doing this, if nothing else. Yeah, so those are the things that are annoying to me. Any other thing that I've just discovered is that, is exactly the contrast. Like, I never thought that, I really realized how important it is for being a human, being a social animal, because I love my silence, simply because I'm 8 hours super social and active, and working with my company,
Yeah.
working with the dancers, and it's a very high energy vibe in my company, or with my students or with my dancers. The energy is very high because young people, right? And there's so much of hunger and thirst to learn, and you're sharing, you're learning from them. So it's great energy. The energy levels are very high. So it's very nice to come home and have a contrast where it's absolutely the opposite. But now that you have only one aspect, which is isolation, you kind of also appreciate sometimes the need to sensibly socialize. One thing that I'm really really tired of is being on the phone. It's just like, you are so addicted. I don't know whether like conspiracy theories are bust, saying, oh, this is basically to kind of get us hooked on, more people hooked on, as if it was not enough anyways that we were on our phones. Now we're going to be, even more, hooked on to the phones because it's a constant source of entertainment. So, memes, all I'd say, I enjoy the memes. I think the memes are just fantastic. They're super clever. So I kind of, in WhatsApp groups, we are having chat. But one important thing that has also come about is the need to stay in touch through technology. So we're using the Zoom app, which is really helpful because then you can be in touch with a group. So I have a group of very close friends. I have my family. So we have Zoom app family. Then we have Zoom up my closest friends, and then I have Zoom up with my, my teachers and dancers, with whom we are doing some collaborations, and we are thinking of innovative ideas how to, engage ourselves and be of some use. So between that and housework, it's enough. It's enough.
Do you set a timetable saying 11 to 11:30 with Rishi K, 11:30 to 12 Zoom app with family, 12 to 12:30 cleaning, or do you just go with the flow? How does it
Go
work, in
go
your
with the
time of
flow.
quarantine?
See, with you, if there's something scheduled with my company or with my family, or with, if it's a scheduled talk, then it's a scheduled talk, then you make time for it. But otherwise, random things like cooking, like I eat at odd hours. So eating is at odd hours, as and when I feel like eating. Cooking and cleaning is at odd hours. So all the basic activities are basically done, which is to be done independently. I'm not setting a time because then it becomes like, you're trying to become a control freak, and even that will break down. And I think it's so important to just allow yourself to, if you're feeling lazy, just be lazy. It's okay. You don't have to look at the whole world and say, oh my God, that person is doing a workout. Oh my God, that person. I think this has to stop. This self abuse, this inner critique going crazy has to stop. And I think just listen to yourself. If you feel the need to work, you'll work. If you feel the need to do something, your inner voice will tell you. And because you have nothing to talk to and nothing to get distracted, hopefully, I think your inner voice will be the best guide. Your inner voice, if it tells you just sleep, sleep. If your inner voice says don't do this, listen to it. You can think in your head, you can question it, but start talking to the inner voice, which is not the mind, which is not your heart. Because see, your mind it's a very devious mechanism. Your
It
heart
is. It
is a
is.
fool. Your heart is a fool. It's full of emotions. So it is based on habits and certain kind of beliefs. So your heart is, heart and mind is a deadly. It's a very you have to be very careful of it. They're amazing, but they're very careful. But I think if you listen to your gut, now your gut is, something that is just so that is devoid of your sensations that come from your body. It is just a very astute, sense of being, which I think even the yogis have said that your gut is something which is extremely pure. It's a source of information that is just really, it's a very very interesting thing. Science has not been able to kind of understand it, but it is just there, and all of us understand it and know it. Can't prove it, but it's there. So for me, in my sense, I feel, listen to your gut. Don't follow anybody on everybody randomly. You can use your intellect, you can use your emotions, because what's life without using your emotions, right? But the emotions can cause havoc. Too much thinking can make you very cynical. Too much reading, too much information can again make you confused, because it's like there are both sides of all situations, and both have amazing theories and data to back it up. So I think in times of over information and in times of over emotionality, I think the best thing to go to fall back to, is your gut. And one person's gut is not same to be similar to the another person's gut, because everybody is different. We are a
Sure.
different combination. Certain groups of people may look or think or feel the same or have the same gut experience, but that's because there's a certain kind of a theory of also all of us having been made in certain kind of vibration and frequency. So based on your vibration and frequency, you will feel a gut sensation, and that is independent to each one of us, and you just follow that.
Beautiful. Will you allow me to show your throne to everybody who's watching? Is there enough internet and light inside? You've
Yeah,
got
yeah,
to see
there.
this, ladies and gentlemen. It is the famous Terence Lewis throne. I've never, ever
It's only
seen
for
anything like this.
it's only for guests, by the way.
I know.
It's
You're a
only for
kind
guests.
man.
Okay, I'm going to show it the way it is. So let me show it to you. So basically, this bathroom of mine is a guest bathroom. So you know Ishita, right? Ila Arun's daughter.
Of
Okay,
course
who
I
is
do.
also a fabulous.
Yes. Yeah.
So she and me designed this thing together, and I said, we should have a fan. Like my whole house is pretty, I would say it's got an esoteric blend of many things, but and it's got a very rustic charm. Like the doors are, in this style. But I told her that let's have the bathroom, in a certainly quirky way, and she said, okay, you give me some ideas, and I said I love Salvador Dali, like he's a brilliant artist, and I would love to kind of dedicate the bathroom to Salvador Dali. Now Dali was a cuckoo, in many ways, a great artist, but
Eccentric
cuckoo,
genius.
yeah,
Yeah.
eccentric genius, and most of them are in that sense. So he had, also little trivia, if you allow me to. You see, Dali
Sure.
came in the time of, he was in the time of surrealism. What happened was camera was discovered by them. Camera. So people
Wow.
used to earlier painters used to paint people, okay, and there was a
Sure.
high price and premium for painters, right? But once the camera came in, then who wanted to see the reality? The reality was best captured on camera. So artists realized that they would have to kind of go beyond reality, and they created surrealism, the era of surrealism. Surrealism was basically skewing reality. So you do not see things which are real, you see skewed reality. So that's why even my door is door in a door, you see.
Yeah. Yeah.
As you can
Yeah.
see, it's an illusionary door. This handle has it's not really connected to this, if you can see it.
Yes.
And it's a long, he had these long obtuse images, and he had very graphic ways of showing. Everything was very graphic. He used animals a lot. So yeah, here is the bathroom dedicated to Dali.
Ta-ta-da, ladies and gentlemen.
So
It
let's see how it
is.
works. This is how it works. You gotta. This is a throne, as Rishi rightly pointed
Throne.
out. He loved chandeliers. Ishita has beautifully done this up. This is I've used. This part of the wall I did actually with my hands with putty.
Textured. Beautiful.
Yeah, putty.
With
Putty.
putty.
You use hands for this.
Mm.
Yeah, putty. So the walls are made with putty. We have lots of mirrors just to create the illusory effect. Even the window is off center because everything was off. There was no symmetry that Dali followed, and there was a beauty in that. And here is the famous spot. So how it works
Oh!
is you got to lift it up, and oops, here you go. There you
And
go.
there you go. Yeah. Mamma mia.
So that's how you do it.
I love the arms. They're actual arms. How
Yeah.
beautiful is
So
that?
it's also male female. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the male female. And there's also a switch from the hands, so you can put
For the hands.
and the flush is from this button here. So here you go.
Beautiful. Exotic.
The famous.
I want to
infamous
now.
throne.
Beautiful. I want to now completely contrast this and talk about forgiveness. The American president has gone live on international TV and said the Chinese virus and blamed the Chinese for the virus.
Wow.
A lot of people,
That's creating
a
a lot
lot
of
of people are turning
xenophobia.
around and saying, yes. A lot of people are saying that Chinese Americans, you're alienating them by calling it that virus. He says, no, it originates from there. Uh, at the end of the day, whatever happens, I think we need to, as a species, be good at forgiveness. How good are you at forgiveness? Are you able to
Totally.
forgive easily?
Firstly, I'm no one to forgive. Okay, let's just put it this way: I've never believed that I have any right to forgive. They have already been forgiven. I cannot hold a grudge. By saying, I forgive you, you're exalting yourself to a position of, I'm God, or I am.
Even if somebody personally hurts you,
Yeah,
hurts you.
I don't know. I don't know how to explain this to you. I've always had this feeling that everybody operates from their perception and their belief of who you are, what you are, and they're doing what they think is right. See, you may say something is a 6 from the other person's point of view. It's a 9, correct? The letter 6, the figure 6.
Yep.
So everybody's perspective is different. Nobody, it's hard to judge. Also, I mean, I really feel that everybody, depending on what where they were born and how they were, what experiences they had and what kind of nurture they had, it shapes their narratives, right? It shapes their beliefs. And They operate from there. Now, if I've been lucky and fortunate to, in certain ways, have a certain sense of upbringing, with very middle class, very, humble beginnings, I think, and from there, because of my parents, of how, they did what they did, by educating us, in a very Christian way, not that, I'm not a very good Catholic. Let me put that honestly, even though the church is just
That's why
behind
I
me.
say
I'm an
you're a
outstanding
spiritual
Catholic. I just,
person. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm an outstanding
Outstanding.
Catholic. I'm standing outside the church and listening to mass every Sunday. But having said that, I think some of the values were fantastic of, compassion and, do unto others what you want others to do unto you. And I think more importantly, who am I to forgive anybody? And I think the president, US president, doing this, if a random person said something like this, it wouldn't make a difference, right? Because, he's not in a position of power to influence people. But, the president of USA, which is a superpower, and it's like everybody, the whole world looks at them. Firstly, to elect him as a president, he'll be a great businessman. He's great at business and he's great at, economy. But that's not what you only look out for a president. You look out, somebody who can guide the world super well as a super country, guide the world into certain, right attitude and right beliefs. And him making this statement, even I said this, that we have to stop these jokes on Chinese people, or this hate that has been started, and it's only going to create xenophobia. It's just going to, I mean, for those who you don't know what xenophobia is, basically it's hate against, a certain, race, or a, certain tribe. And this kind of xenophobia is just not okay. And this is what started the First World War and the Second World War.
Yep.
Let's not forget. This is exactly this kind of hate, this is what they have done. It's fear, it's anger, it's fear and anger, which is going to now create a certain platform for wars. And again, what is this? Do we really want wars? Nobody wins. The only person winning is the person who is invested in arms and ammunition. We know who they are. And we know that 1% that controls the whole world. I don't want to get into that theory and, get into this very, in that space, but I just feel it is so wrong of what the president has done. And, it's just scary to think that a person like him, who is in a position of power to influence people, can be such a big bully. And it's not just the way he says it, it's also about the bullying. You see, I have a problem with that itself. It's like many of us know that, we have been in some ways or the other bullied, in our lives for various things. And it could be shaming for many things. You're going to shame somebody for being Chinese now? And even if some people did it, it's your game. Honestly, it's the game between the powerful people. Even if there's a certain kind of a conspiracy theory, it's between powerful people, not between the ordinary people.
Yep.
Even if my president or my prime minister or somebody does something wrong, it doesn't mean that I did it. I may have chosen that person by mistake or whatever it is that Americans have done. But to say that all Americans are as stupid as Trump is also stupid.
Yep.
In the same way. I know a lot of my American friends who are not like this. So, yeah.
One audience question, Rolling Martu says, "Sir, when are you going to act? Why haven't you tried acting?" I'm sure the movie offers, the TV offers are already there. You're doing wonderfully well, as judge. But the acting offers, has Bollywood come calling, and why haven't you taken it up?
Well, so here's the thing that, many eons ago, I was into the same space, I was modeling, I was doing a lot of shows, I was earning money through dance, through a lot of things. And, when you're young, you try your hand in everything. I did so many music videos back then when music videos were a craze.
Yep.
And the natural transition was me to also, audition for films. But somehow, dance kept calling me into its world and, embracing me. And I had existential issues like, putting bread on the table. I had to stand on my feet. And somehow dance was, far more a stronger calling in that sense. And it looked very promising. And I went into it, and I'm grateful to it. But however, I do feel I left behind, a certain talent of mine, which I did in school and college, which is, acting and theater, and street theater was one of my favorites. But having said that, the cinema that I would like to do is also very different. I'm not looking at commercial cinema, because if I want to kind of be an actor, I would want to do really good films, like, really offbeat, sensible films with a very strong message. And of course, if it would be a dance film, even better, because then I can use all my strengths. So yeah, the film offers did keep coming, but the kind of films that they were offering me and the kind of roles, so I was like, do I really need to do this? Let it go to somebody else who really needs a job. You know,
Yeah,
I'm this is
yeah.
this is not my. I don't need to be an actor to survive. I'm very happy being a dancer, a choreographer, a judge, and that takes care of my daily bread and butter. If I want to do one more activity, I will do it for my passion, not for money. I will do it because it really, really, I feel strongly about that subject. And it's okay to feel that you want to be an actor, but one also has to ask, do you have the skills? And I would say, yeah, I reasonably have the skills. I'll have to brush it up. And, I'll have to kind of do what it needs to. And I will do it if that opportunity presents itself. I have written a film for myself. I would not deny
Lovely.
that. I've written it since the last 3 years, and right now I'm going into script development, which means I've written it with my sense and knowledge, but I really need to go into script lab, which is the sensible thing to do, where you approach, festivals to take your script if they like it, and if you see it's a potential, then they kind of put your script in the script lab, and they
Yep,
have
yep.
mentors who will then pace it down and make sure that it's correct, the grammar is right of the film, and then from there you can make a really good film, because if you have that in place, then you really know why you're making the film, you really know what the message is, you really know scene per scene why this needs to be said. Anything that's unnecessary gets weeded out. So in many ways, if I really do make a film, it will be really a film that has a very strong message. I'm also borrowing this film, the film that I've written, and also borrows from my, I would say, personal, not personal experience that I have lived, but certain experiences that people have shared with me. So it's a very strong message about love, about relationships, how to survive certain toxic relationships, how do you survive, why do people get into relationships, and how our childhood past is a precursor to all the things that we experience later on in life. So in many ways, this film will probably, when it's made, hopefully, fingers crossed, and when it gets done, hopefully it will showcase how the certain relationships that we are in currently today, which may not be very beneficial to us, will explain the pattern and go back to your childhood. And this film is all about that, how what this person has chosen comes and stems from certain experiences that he has or she has felt in the childhood or while growing up. And when I say childhood, means between the age of 8 to 16, that's again your childhood and teenage years where you're forming your
Yep.
beliefs. So those, years where your belief, your sense of identity is being formed, and also your sexual identity is being formed in many ways. Your personal identity starts at the age of 8 and 9, and your sexual identity starts between the age of 13 to 17. It's a phase of discovering so many things. So all this combined makes you the person that you are. So it's going to kind of be very interesting for people to look at their own relationships, look at why they are there, and how they can heal themselves from those relationships also. So it's hopefully when it gets made, it'll get made, but it has to be made. See, talking about a film and making a film and getting the message across are two different
Yep.
things. So we need to really make sure that I get people who really know the craft of filmmaking to help me with that, in terms of writing the script and also shooting it.
My last question. Keep up the great cooking videos, the khichdi, the breakfast. Your earliest cooking influence, would it be mom? Would it be grandmom? Your earliest cooking influence as a child in the home kitchen?
I see. My mom made food for us, but mostly, and she was a housewife, and she made great food. I was not a foodie as much, but I can remember that my go-to food was the rava, because it was something that was cheap, affordable, and very easy to make. So the first thing that I remember, knowing how to make was rava, because you feel hungry. All you need is a little ghee, rava,
Yeah.
and sugar, and and some nuts. You throw it in, and some kishmish is even better. So I think making a suji halwa, whatever you call it, was my favorite pastime. So whenever I used to feel hungry, that was my go-to meal. And the other one was burji, because I love burji. So these two things, anda burji, and chai, to, of course, is no man's. It's a no-brainer. But making burji it required a certain skill, and making rava, the slight texture, when to add the water, how sweat, how dry you want it. all of that my mom taught me, and yeah, those were the days when we used to come back playing cricket, or used to play with my brother a lot. So in the heat of the sun, especially in the summer holidays, and there used to be limited food in the house, and if you, and there were times when if you felt hungry, you would have to make it your own, because mom had to clean the house, wash vessels. There was a lot of things. So if you felt hungry, and there are 8 kids, right? So she can't say, okay beta, तुम्हें भूख लग रही है, तुम्हें क्या चाहिए. That can't happen. So we were pretty much right from the beginning. And one more important thing, apart from learning how to cook, my mom always said, you'll have to clean the vessels also. Don't leave it for
Yeah.
me. So all of us were made sure that she would say, okay, she would watch us eat, and she should sit there quietly, say, okay, you make it, but if you make the kitchen dirty, you had it. I don't know how many parents, how many of us have had this. She said, I will whack the shit out of you if you make my kitchen dirty. Because when we used to cook earlier, we used to be such a pasara. I don't know if that's a word. It used to be like the gas car, the ring used to be dirty. And my mom and my dad
Yep.
are like, OCD for cleanliness. Mangaloreans, right? So OCD for cleanliness. So the South Indian type, like clean the gas inside rim, outside rim. The gas has to be clean. Everything, the table has to be super clean. The kitchen table. So the sink has to be clean. Then again, wiping the wash. Like I remember, my brother used to be a little lazy, so he used to wash and clean, and there used to be still some stains. So she used to squeeze his ears and say, "Come on, clean it again," and then drying it and putting it back into its place. So I think those lessons in childhood are all coming back to me right now.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I feel so charged. Your positive energy, even through the feed, is charged me for the rest of the day and this rest of the
Thank you.
21-day lockdown. God bless you, Terence. Thank you very
Thanks,
much, brother.
actually. God
Lots of
bless.
love. Bye.
Thank you.
See you.
See you.
God
Bye.
bless. Bye bye.